There's a quote that says, Dumper, laugh now, cry later. Dumpee, cry now, laugh later. And even though you think your ex or know that your ex is happy about the breakup and they're doing great, doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. As time goes by, there's a very good chance they'll eventually start to feel worse. And you will start to feel better, as hard as it may be to believe right now. How is this possible? Well, stay tuned and you'll find out. Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. I'm a dating and relationship expert specializing in helping you get your ex back or to get over your ex. And welcome back, my beautiful no contact army. Have you downloaded Silencio to help you stay in no contact? The app is underneath every single video and podcast. And if you too would like to join our no contact army, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and the bell notification and you're in. And to read our manual, go to nocontactsecrets.com where you can read 2 free chapters before you purchase the book. So unless this is not the first breakup with this person, then your ex does not know how they're going to feel after the breakup with you. They just know they wanted the breakup, but they are now on new terrain. They've not been here before. Most people, when they dump someone, they think that they're going to go off and live happily ever after, but that's not always the way it works out. Dumpers don't always want to end the relationship, but they feel they have to for a variety of reasons. So most will feel relief after the breakup. They dreaded having to break up with you, right? Because who wants to have to go through that? But when they finally do, they feel relief, just as when you dread having to do something or talk to a certain person. And then when you finally do, you're like, whew, so glad that's over with. I'm so relieved. Even if the interaction didn't go well, you're just relieved it's not behind you, right? So they're relieved they got that over with, and they're relieved that they're no longer in a relationship where they weren't happy. Now, there are some dumpers who don't immediately feel relief, and they will actually be feeling bad right after the breakup. And these are the people who will reach out to you sooner rather than later. You'll hear from them within a few days or a few weeks, and that's usually because they feel guilty about hurting you, and they're hoping that you're doing okay so that they can go off on their merry way without feeling bad. It doesn't mean that they want to get back together unless it was a fake breakup to get you to do something or not do something. And even if it was a fake breakup, they are still the ones who need to say that they've changed their mind and they made a mistake. You can't ask for them. And I've done a video on fake breakups, and I will put the link up on YouTube. So while they feel relief, you unfortunately feel out of control, which is why if you have an anxious attachment style, you chase your ex after the breakup. People with a secure or an avoidant attachment style may also feel out of control, but they channel that energy in different ways. They don't reach out to their ex. But you know, the relief stage, it does not last forever. It eventually passes. It will eventually lose its shine, as does everything. They're going to begin to realize that the single life isn't what they thought it would be, or the rebound is not someone who's going to be able to replace you. So now, finally, they can start to feel worse when they feel the emotional consequences of the breakup, meaning they actually start to miss you. There's no way that you can be with someone for years or even months and not miss them when they're no longer in your life. At some point, at some time, they're going to start to miss you. And this happens when they get triggered. You have triggers and you want to reach out, right? You probably have triggers every day and you want to reach out. So why wouldn't they? And this can be anything from a song that reminds them of you, or of a fun time you share together, a location, a movie, a food, anything. And this is the part of the video where I let you know that, believe it or not, 65% of people who listen to me are not subscribed. I know. So I just want to ask you one thing, and that is, if my videos have ever helped you in any way and you want to give something back, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button, and I promise that I will continue to work hard and put out interesting and helpful videos so that you can get your ex back. Thank you. Okay, so continuing on. They will finally feel the consequences of breaking up with you. But you need to let them get to that point by getting into no contact and staying there. Because if you get impatient, like most people do, and think that they're not going to reach out and you contact them, you've just set yourself back and you're going to have to start the count all over again. For all you know, they could have been at the point of breaking and they were going to reach out tomorrow or next week. Keep in mind that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, but it does not boil at 98 degrees Celsius. Those last couple of degrees make all the difference. So if you take the pot off the stove at 98 degrees because you're impatient, it hasn't started to boil yet, it's going to cool off. And now you're going to have to start all over again. So same thing with contacting your ex before they get to the point where they get triggered and start to miss you. That's why it's imperative that you get into no contact and stay there no matter what. Now, on top of missing you, your silence is a blow to their ego. When they broke up with you, they figured they could get you back at any time if things didn't go as planned in their new life. You were an option. However, your silence is now making them doubt whether they could even get you back. And the confidence they once had, it's starting to diminish. Maybe they're not as amazing as they thought they were. Or maybe you weren't as into them as they thought you were. Otherwise, why are you not reaching out? How could you possibly just be moving on with your life? Especially if at first you were upset at the breakup. Are you faking it until you make it? Or are you truly over them? These thoughts are going to invade their mind and they'll want to know the answers. And that's when you'll hear from them. Usually in the form of a breadcrumb because, of course, they don't want to be vulnerable. But you're going to be a good little soldier and you're not going to respond to a breadcrumb. And that's going to be an even bigger blow to their ego. They were 100% certain that if they reached out, you would respond. Even if they just said, hey, or how's it going? Which is what they usually do. And yet on your side is radio silence. Now they're starting to panic. If they're anxious or anxious avoidant, they may call you a bunch of times in a day. Or the more likely scenario is that they'll wait a couple of weeks and try again, hoping that in the meantime, you will reach out. But of course, you're not going to, because you're working on your attachment style and you're leveling up and you do not have time for breadcrumbs. You'll delay them missing you and quote unquote crying later if you don't leave them alone and get into no contact. That's why you want to get into it as soon as possible. They have to feel your absence, and they can't do that if you're not absent, right? Any type of you reaching out to them, even if it's only once a month, or anything that lets them know you may still be interested, such as watching their story, even if it's accidental, it's breaking no contact, and you have to start the count all over again. So if you have my Silencio app, you can just reset the counter back to 0. So let time do its thing. Let them get past the relief stage of thinking they're going to have a great old time being single or moving on. And eventually they'll experience the consequences of the breakup. They'll start to feel worse. They'll miss you. Their ego will have taken a hit. In the meantime, you've been working on your attachment style, right? You've been working on your attachment style. You've begun to level up work out, and you're feeling better. And that's when you'll hear from them. And if you want to know how long each stage is going to take, because I know that's your next question, I, of course, have done a video on that, and I'll put the link on YouTube. So now I'm going to hear from you. How long have you been in no contact, and how is it going? And in the meantime, if you would like my help to get your ex back, you can contact me at theartoflove.net/coaching, and we will send you the rates. They are not on the website, and the direct link to that is underneath every single video and podcast. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're listening to this as a podcast and you want to help the show, download this episode. And finally, remember, love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.